Hello and welcome to the Executive Lounge with me, Jerry Adjorlolo. On this show, we get talking with C-suite executives and find out from them what it takes to achieve key targets for all their stakeholders. Today, I come to you from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, government's foremost agency mandated with promoting and attracting investments in Ghana. So why don't you join me as we get talking on the Executive Lounge? I'll see you soon. With me on the Executive Lounge today is the CEO of the GIPC, Mr. Yofi Grant, together with his deputy, Mr. Amoateng Afriyie, and the Director of Investor Services, Mr. Ashong Lartey. Gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to your Executive Lounge. I couldn't help but notice this recent one that has just come in. International Investor Awards 2022, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Best FDI Destination in Africa. Together with you, CEO, winning the Businessman of the Year. How do these things come in thick and fast like that? What do you do?
What do we do?
Yes.
That's a very telling question because we do quite a bit. Primarily, our mandate is to facilitate, promote, attract, and onboard foreign direct investment into the Ghanaian economy. That's just one layer. But additionally, we also play a critical role in the policy formulations side by advising the president as to what's happening on the investment climate and assisting with that. But also working with the other agencies to facilitate, investment into their various areas.
Wow. But you seem to be doing a lot more than that. That has been your core mandate. What are the new innovations that have come?
Well, the new innovations at GIPC is that we have what we call a diaspora investment desk, which is critical for our economy and for many other countries as well, because the diaspora is a very strong tool de force in the dynamics of a country. I mean, ever through history, I mean, if you look at countries that have made it, the diaspora played a very critical role. Israel, for example, they raised money for their diaspora, for their development. It worked very well. Nigeria has done that. India significantly. The Philippines significantly. But if you think about it in very simplistic ways, every year, averagely, some $3.5 billion coming from the diaspora, inward remittances. And that's formal. If you add the informal, it's suspected that every year over $5 billion comes in from inward remittances from the diaspora. So it's a critical, bit of the equation when you are seeking capital for investment in your economy or for development of your economy. Then additionally, we've also just established an aftercare office, which is critical for investment facilitation. But also as an early warning sign with investors that they talk to find out whether the environment is ripe for them, what the issues are, and how we can resolve those issues. Because for us, investment is a relationship.
Exactly.
It's not just an act. And so in any relationship, you have to work at it consistently, not just 2 weeks and then you relax. You have to work at it consistently and almost permanently. You have to be present. You have to be in their faces. You have to also assist them on board their entrepreneurial ideas into real sustainable businesses. And for us, that relationship must be a sustainable business and one that is also mutually rewarding.
I had a very beautiful interaction with the head of the Aftercare. Let's just take a listen at what she also had to say.
Over the years, the GIPC have been offering aftercare services, but these were on ad hoc basis and more often than not, reactionary. So investors come into the country and are often left on their own to navigate the territory. The Aftercare Division was therefore created to have a more structured approach at facilitating investor issues and challenge resolutions. This division was created in the last quarter of 2020, and since it was created, we have worked at building and strengthening our relationships with investors. Our main mandate and objective is to retain investors and to grow their business. We get to learn what is important to investors by keeping our communication lines with them open. We explore ways in which we can help facilitate challenges that hinder their business growth. We do this by also strengthen the relationships we have with our sister government ministries, departments and agencies, because they are the implementing agencies of investor projects. This, in a nutshell, is how the Aftercare Division feeds into the GIPC's overall mandate.
GIPC is the first point of call for all investors coming to Ghana. Mr. Yao Amoateng, let me come to you. What's been the experience for businesses registering with the GIPC?
Thank you. I think largely the experience has been good. We have a dedicated business advisory team that take the various businesses, the various private enterprises through issues around facilitation, issues around permitting, building linkages within the public sector as well as the private sector. And all these gamut of service offering is vital to the initial business onboarding and experience. And if you look at the number of surveys that we have conducted, the interaction that we have through our aftercare team, through our investor services division, I think overwhelmingly businesses are satisfied with the services that GIPC supports them with.
Okay. What are the figures like?
If you look at the last 4 years, foreign direct investment has seen an upward curve in Ghana, predominantly because of the global structure and global effects. Okay. And we have been beneficiaries of that. But if you look at the UNCTAD report, foreign direct investment in 2022, even though it rebounded, Africa was only, 5% of that quantum. And we want to grow the FDI conversation. We recognize where we are. The times are quite difficult, which has ramifications for investment decisions at the boardroom, at the C-suite level, which is why we are continuously looking within to see what can Ghana offer. What is Ghana's USP? What is Ghana's competitive sell to the rest of the international investor community? And we believe that manufacturing, some of the key areas that we are promoting, are ripe for direct investment. But beyond that, we're also trying to encourage portfolio activity. And as the CEO has mentioned, the diaspora component is absolutely key to how we mobilize inward investment into our country. So I think in a nutshell, over the last 5-6 years, GIPC has led that charge to attract and retain inward investment. I believe in 2017, we're almost at 3 billion. The following years, when Ghana grew averagely at 7%, the sentiment was right, and we saw investment coming in. But in the post-pandemic world, where all economies are rethinking, reforming, recalibrating, we are not totally exempted. And therefore, the numbers have been, quite mixed, but we remain quite optimistic. And it is for nothing that these awards are won. I think the efforts that are being put in by GIPC, led by the Chief Executive and so on, and also supported by other government agencies.
Indeed, there's a lot to talk about in terms of your achievements and what you've done over the period. But let's come to the GIPC Act 2013. Mr. Ashong, would you want to walk us through the Technology Transfer Agreement? What is that and how does it bode for our economy?
Okay, thank you very much. The Technology Transfer Agreement is an agreement between a company based in Ghana, which is called a transferee, and then a company based abroad, which is a transferor. And the Technology Transfer Agreement is usually signed to cover services such as technical services, know-how, management services, and industrial property marks. Okay. Now, under the GIPC Act, it is mandatory for all companies to register the Technology Transfer Agreement with the center. By registering, you'll be able to transfer funds on due dates to pay for the services, and therefore the agreement is very important. It protects both the service provider and the end user. For the end user, the agreement ensures that you cannot be shortchanged or made to pay for services which are freely available. So it's in the interest of all companies who have technology transfer agreements to register these agreements with the center. We have a solid legal team here which will be ready to take you through the various provisions of the technology transfer agreement. This area seems new, and therefore, over the past year, we've been organizing seminars for professional bodies to explain the provisions of the technology transfer agreement so that they can also explain these further to their clients to ensure that everyone is on the same page as well as far as the agreements are concerned.
Okay.
These are very important, and they also help to ensure that funds are not transferred under various guises, but just for specific services provided.
So for a layman's appreciation of the technology transfer agreement, talk of multinationals coming here to operate and, you know, making use of local expertise and stuff, they are enjoined by law to make readily available all those skills?
Yes, under the technology transfer agreement, there's a provision for the transferor to train people here so that, and when you apply for registration, there is a section where you indicate the kind of training programs.
Okay.
And then when you submit your returns, you also provide details on the type of training that you provided for the locals. So as the name goes, technology transfer, and at the end of the day, we aim to ensure that the skills and know-how and knowledge, they are properly transferred to the local companies.
Let's talk about achievements and recognitions. Mr. Grant, you have been at the helm of this organization since 2017. It's been a string of awards. You yourself, today, you are a director with the World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies representing Sub-Saharan Africa. You also double as an independent director, if I'm correct, for the OACPS. Tell us, what do all these achievements and recognitions really mean for our country?
Well, I think it gives credit to where the country is at this moment, and it's not one that I will claim singularly. It's a collective, most of the time, it's from the collective effort of government, individuals who have in one way or the other done stuff. I mean, for us, it's good to know that we are being recognized, but it also tells us that there's a lot more to do. Because so far as we don't think we've hit our targets or the best we can, and we are getting awards, it means there's more up there. There's more upside that you can claw back. And so it's exciting to have them, but that does not define our limitations. No, we should be limitless in our efforts. And I think that with the right environment, with the right policies, Ghana should be in the space where maybe in the next 5 years, we should be attracting FDI at a minimum of 5 billion a year. It's like a man on a mission, and this is what the country is like. I mean, and a man on a mission, you hit your pitfalls, you hit your troughs and your valleys, but you still focus and get to your destination because you have a plan. And that is where I think Ghana is. I mean, the president has done pretty well, re-establishing Ghana as the pivot of most of Africa's, directions. I keep saying that as a country which has the pride of being in the center of the world, I mean, we are the only country on latitude 0 and longitude 0. We look not just east, west, north, south, but we look forward. And I keep saying that Ghana is just not the black star of Africa. It's a shining star of Africa.
Mr. Yofi Grant, you make a very great case for the dividends that accrue from foreign direct investments. In 6 years, you have done a lot to achieve this enviable status as the most preferred destination for foreign direct investments in Ghana. Mr. Amoateng, let me ask you this question. Tell us, what's been the impact of FDIs on our economy? I know of job creation, I know of technology transfer, but really, what's the real impact on our economy?
Yeah, I think you've mentioned two of them. So job creation is key. Every government is focused on creating the environment for jobs to, first of all, be made and jobs to be sustained.
Okay.
And that is largely an instrument that is largely driven by the private sector. Governments can only do so much.
Okay.
Governments are there as the referees to provide the enabling architecture, the environment for private capital to create jobs and impacts on people's livelihoods and so on. But if you look at the businesses that have established in the country, whether it be in hospitality, some of the major international hoteliers that are coming with their foreign direct investment, that are bringing skills, soft skills, that are bringing physical technology and products, that are bringing so many other things that are retained in the country. These are clear examples of some of the benefits, the dividends, as you put it,
okay,
of foreign direct investment. But of course, beyond that, this is a country, as the president said, is in a hurry. Currently, we are operating a multi-dimensional, multifaceted economy where GIPC is leading the charge to attract all types of investment in high tech, in mid tech, in low tech, and so on, in manufacturing. this is where we are. But we believe that we can accelerate this. And foreign direct investment is the enabling instrument to bring us all the dividends that we hope will ensure that we leapfrog and we play at the higher ends of that value chain. So it is, perhaps this interview is a bit too short to talk about the real impact, but I think the impact is clear and apparent for everybody to see and feel.
Talking about the various sectors, readily what comes to my mind is grow in Ghana, grow with Ghana. What influence? It seems to be gaining traction all around the world. Mr. Yofi Grant.
I mean, the end result of all the work we do is that you grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana. You know, investment facilitates growth because the more investment you have in the country, the more businesses you have. The more businesses you have, the more people are employed. The more people are employed, then the more the ability for government to earn back the taxes that we have to pay. So, you know, the important aspiration of all our work and great motivation for us to go out there and do what we do is to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana. Ghana is attractive not just in the fact that we have great business environmental factors, which we could do better at, you know, and I did say that we should get to a point where we can easily attract over 5 billion a year. But the people are nice. We have 365 days of sunshine. I once even joked to somebody that perhaps God lives here because things are, I mean, despite everything, we are still almost like a favored nation without us doing much. You know, our 550 kilometers of sunny beaches, pristine and very attractive. The fact that we were the first African country that celebrated the year of return and conceptualized and celebrated it in itself puts us in pole position as the African country that serves in quote as a mecca for the African in the diaspora. And that means anybody who comes from Africa. Now beyond the year of the return, we then conceptualize beyond the return to take advantage of whatever the year of return, you know, held for us, and in many other areas, in cultural, scientific, you know, investment. The diaspora is significant. If you look at the African American economy, consumption tops 3 trillion a year. If we just get 10% or even 5% of that on the African continent, just do the sums. That's serious, some 15, you know, 15 billion that comes to the continent in consumption.
There's so much to count, you know, in terms of the dividends that have accrued within this short period. But let's go to 2023. What is the outlook for this year? What are the priority areas? Mr. Ashong, Lartey, you want to walk us through?
Thank you very much. 2023, based on the gains we made from 2022, we are looking at the ICT space. You know, ICT is here to stay with us, fintech and the likes. And they also fall in line with the government's digitalization program. We are looking at agro-processing, the entire Greek value chain, infrastructure and real estate development. And of course, healthcare. These are quite important. The tourism sector as well. So, and at the GIPC, we try and push this agenda forward through our sector profile. We have sector profiles covering all these. So at least baseline information for anyone interested in these sectors, the GIPC has it. We also have sector specialists, so in terms of the advisory work, when you walk in here, we have people who live and breathe agric or manufacturing who can then engage you and then direct you appropriately. So this year we are looking forward to attracting a lot of investments into these areas, and not just FDI, but also wholly Ghanaian-owned businesses. Last year we recorded some huge investments from Ghanaian-owned companies, and we'd like to celebrate them as well. So we are looking at both ways, both Ghanaian and foreign, and it looks bright.
Talking of Ghanaian-owned companies, I must really commend you. Your recent GC 100 really saw a Ghanaian, indigenous Ghanaian company emerge as the #1 company. It's a fintech company too, for that matter. Congratulations. Let me come to you, Mr. Yofi Grant. Economic indicators, what are we looking at?
Well, as you know already, and I don't have to belabor that point, that the pandemic and the conflicts between Russia and Ukraine brought about great disruptions to most economies in the world. And Ghana had our fair share. I mean, we were lucky that during the COVID pandemic, the hardness did not hit us as it hit many stronger, more robust economies. But subsequently, we are feeling the effect. And so yes, as a country, we have a debt problem because we didn't collect enough revenue, as we had to spend significantly during that period. And of course, that has a concomitant, result of rising inflation. And as you know, inflation all the world over has gone haywire because of the disruption of global supply chains and value chains. So we have that to grapple with. But interestingly, the economy has still been growing. I mean, that's at the end of the third quarter last year. The economy had demonstrated a growth of 4.8%. So that is significant. And we are looking forward that through the work we do and bringing in quality, sustainable investors, we will grow the economy even further, despite those fundamental macroeconomic, deviations. But I must also say that Ghana was the first country in the world to benchmark the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, in its budgetary process. Wow. So we also, again, is one of the first countries in Africa that demonstrate a clear path to achieving the SDGs, which are critical for global survival. And on that score, many of the things that we do at GIPC also have a great impact on SDG investors looking at the destination. We've done work with the UNDP to do the SDG investor roadmap that actually highlights specific sectors, and in some cases, specific investment opportunities that can return money but enable us to achieve the SDGs quickest. One of the recommendations that I've made is the better use of our incentive schemes as government, and apply them to companies that enable us to achieve the SDGs quickest, or companies that enable us to accelerate job growth, or companies, or foreign direct companies that come in and partner with Ghanaians to enable Ghanaians also elevate the pitch and their ability to compete internationally. So we are in a good space, all in all. It's not yet the desired destination, and I keep saying that you should never reach your desired destination. You should always keep the destination also going up, because that challenges you to be innovative, creative, and hungry. Because when you're full, sometimes you don't want to work some more. But when you're always hungry, and it's a relative thing, you keep going and you keep, creaming it. I'm doing more things to bring relief to the country. And for me, so far as there are opportunities in this country that have not been taken, and taking them means that foreign direct investment in partnership with indigenous direct investment is key. We need to keep working. Once we haven't reached there, we have to keep working. There is no finite destination. We just have to keep going. We need to keep proving and getting better at it every day. But it's competitive. Of course. As I said, China is looking for FDI. The US is looking for FDI. Germany is looking for FDI. But so is Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria. And so every country is doing the best that it can through reforms to ensure that they remain competitive. And for us at GIPC, that has led us to even look at our laws to see how best we can bring in the capital to partner with local businesses to grow the economy. It's critical. And a question you asked earlier, I mean, look, my colleague mentioned the hospitality sector. It's mostly been financed by foreign direct investment. But so has the banking sector, so has been the mining sector, and the technology sector. It's foreign direct investment that has pushed it. I mean, if you look at banking, some would claim, arguably, that banking has created more first-class jobs in Ghana than any other sector. But most of it has been foreign direct investment. So we cannot downplay the impact of foreign direct investment. China, when it suddenly searched for it as a growth economy, was heavily fueled by foreign direct investment from its diaspora. So was India. So was Israel.
Mr. Yofi Grant, we need a part 2 of this interview.
Absolutely.
But we've made tremendous strides, in such a short time. In wrapping up, what do you want to tell your various stakeholders in terms of, those who seek to invest in Ghana? What will be your message to them? And when we think GIPC, what should we think of? Mr. Ashong Lartey, let me start with you.
Okay, thank you very much. What I'd like to tell the stakeholders is that this is a time to come to Ghana. It's true we're going through a bit of, but looking at the program in place to put Ghana on the path of sustained recovery and growth, I think investors should not shy away from us. And I think the Japanese have taken the lead. Last month, I think we had a 26-member Japanese business delegation coming to Ghana to explore opportunities. You all know how the Japanese are very careful before they make a move.
Exactly.
So for them to move all the way down to Ghana when other people were shying away from us, it means that there's something good here. So I'd like to urge all the people out there that come to Ghana and grow with us, as our video says. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Amoateng, Afriyie.
Yes, I will share in Mr. Ashong Lartey's sentiments. I think that from where we sit, we are lucky to engage with the foreign investor and the Ghanaian investor. And since I've joined GIPC, I have seen a flurry of activity, and it has not slowed down. One would have expected that, given where we are, that we are, as it were, somebody said, we're in the doldrums. That we still have the kind of enthusiasm from particularly countries that you would have thought are risk averse. Even those countries and some of these companies are looking at Ghana critically. We have seen some exciting opportunities in manufacturing that are being taken up. And all I'll say is that this country is a youthful population, is highly skilled. We're highly motivated to elevate the economic discourse, and that can only be transformed through investment, local and foreign. And so I say to the naysayers, the doomsday analysts, to be a bit more optimistic. Ghana is a good story, and I think collectively we should tell that story properly and work with institutions such as GIPC to really elevate that discourse.
And to the man who is eternally optimistic, Mr. Yofi Grant, you have the last word.
Well, I mean, I would say in the Ghana Beyond Aid era, there's every reason for the investor to be interested in Ghana. I mean, Ghana has always shown that it's a resilient, robust destination with very eager people who have the highest of aspirations and goals. And so for us, we work with whoever comes in with open arms to say that let's work together for mutual benefit. So once again, to re-emphasize that in the Ghana Beyond Aid, we are not looking for aid to grow our economy. Sure. Of course, we welcome it if it comes. But we want partnerships, sustainable partnerships for linkages and trade. And the end all of it is that you should come to Ghana to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana. There's no other place better than Ghana.
And so that's the call to action. Come to Ghana, grow in Ghana, and grow with Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of the GIPC, Mr. Amoateng Afriyie, Deputy CEO of the GIPC, and Mr. Edward Ashong Lartey, Director, Investor Services. Thank you for welcoming us into your executive lounge. And to you all, thank you, and we'll see you next time.